All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, man, that was an amazing set right there between Wam and Valdemar. But next up, there's going to be non-stop action here as we're jumping right away into Wam versus loueMT, the follow-up set here in the lower bracket.
Yeah, I mean, this is one where game decider, it's win or go home for both of them here, series decider, and we've seen it. We've seen quite a bit of Biz versus Japan here. Do we think we're going to see it for the sixth time now here this series?
It would be a chance, right, for maybe Byzantines to break the curse of always losing up against the Japanese at the moment. It's kind of surprising, actually. Like, Byzantines is being traded as such a strong civilization, like baseline, right? And Japan also being traded as a strong civilization, but typically I think like most players would agree that Byzantine, just on the value scale, is a little bit higher up than Japanese.
Yeah, and the weird thing is even if there is a civ favorite, even if there is one that you'd rather pick, usually it's not a 100% win rate there. It's not a guaranteed win there, but it seems like that has been Japan versus Biz so far. Looking at the all-time head-to-head, though, Wam does have the slight favor. However, last encounter there, 3-1 to loueMT.
Man, big shout out to just the quality of these profile pictures of these mugshots here that we have of these players. Like, I feel like I can like really see the vibe, the seriousness in each and every single face of them.
Oh yeah, they look locked in, and as I'm sure they are right now, ready to play this series, ready to get it started here as well. I believe we might be trying to do a live map draft or live civ draft, not 100% sure here, but the players are up, getting their computers set up, ready to go, and then that will be soon to follow.
Exactly. So right now, I mean, to be fair, like Wam, he had to get like a deserved break, right? Like he just played a pretty long and exhausting set up against Valdemar, so he's going to just take a moment. But I do believe, yeah, both players right now seeded.
Yeah, they are seeded, even though you can't really see Louis that much hidden behind hidden behind the PC, hidden behind some people over there. But yeah, definitely a much-needed break, at least for an extra 5-10 minutes there for Wam, and gives him enough time to maybe game plan a little bit, maybe get ready and get some new strategies, as you can't really plan. So far, all the players he's played against don't really have the same play style as Louis. So you got to react, you got to plan in a little bit of a different way here.
Okay, it looks like Wam's already fully set up. Louis probably still some technical difficulties from the looks of it, so they're working on fixing that on up here at the moment. And it's kind of nice with the technology that we've got here, right? Like each player has like their designated hard drive that they're carrying around with all of their settings, and whenever they're up, it's like hot swappable. They plug in the SSD and they're ready to go with their settings, and yeah.
Yeah, nothing would be worse than having to try to set up your settings before every single series.
Oh,
that would take quite a bit longer.
Exactly, yeah, and also just leads to potential, mistakes. Maybe you forget to set a specific keybind, stuff like that. It's very nice to be able to set it up like that.
Oh, you can see how ready Wam is. He's locked in, ready to go. I'm sure we'll get Louis' cam up here soon. Like we said, he was the one who had to get his PC set up because Wam's already was.
Yeah. Exactly. And you mentioned it earlier, like not many people here that play like loueMT. I think the closest probably has to be Marine Lord, right? Like loueMT also likes to like play a little bit more lean back and just let his opponent come to you and just play it from a defensive standpoint. Though both players obviously are also very much capable of playing the aggression part when it's needed. And yeah, I mean that's probably like where loueMT and Marine Lord probably are the most similar when it comes to their gameplay.
Yeah, and I think the 2TC English play on Frisian Marshes is a perfect example of that. I don't think any other player would have ever thought coming into this set, into this tournament, that 2TC English would be utilized, and especially as often as Louis is.
Get just this aggression here non-stop, stepping up from loueMT with the archers up against Myriad, man. That was an epic game for sure as well.
Yeah, I mean, 2TC Byzantine is nothing to slouch about. It feels like they can almost equate over to that cow boom economy, but Louis' nonstop aggression, raiding, circling around with those Sofa, and you just see how many Sofa he has, 44 of them.
That's a pretty good amount of Sofas to have, especially when your opponent is mainly just massing up those Lumbermen. And just gotta highlight the importance of these games that we're witnessing here right now. Like, so far today, we've already had to say goodbye to 4 players that have been completely eliminated at this point in time, right? Like, we had Magic, we had Valdemar, MSN,
And Myriad.
Myriad, yeah.
Yeah, and just because they lost, that doesn't mean they're going home here today. They're still out in the crowd cheering the other players on, and I'm sure they'll be interacting, hanging out with everyone here after the sets in today.
They get the opportunity to do some sightseeing, which I definitely would say is probably something that they're also very happy about, just because for many of them, it's also their first time here in the United States. So having the ability to just use the time a little bit, maybe do some sightseeing, as we are here in Denver, Colorado. You do have the Rockies right there, so definitely there are some spots that when you're here, you gotta see.
I mean, if you're in the area, you should definitely, go at least take a hike, see some of the views, see some of the mountain ranges. As obviously, we have the Rockies map because of that exact thing. There are some beautiful, beautiful views that you can catch.
Yeah, and when you're in the area, maybe drop by, maybe get yourself an awesome hoodie like this one, King of the Rockies, right here. You can grab it and just immediately pick it up here live at the venue, and also catch some amazing Age of Empires 4 tournament gameplay.
Exactly, and if you're feeling supportive, obviously we have the that side up there. You can see 1,160 so far donated. We need another 3,840 to get to an S tier. Here's going to be Cal jumping in the picture. Watch out for his little bit of a light skin there. Might hurt your eyes a little bit, but.
He's giving
you
him
don't want to see
stare.
the face. Yeah. I can't look down there anymore, or he might do something bad to me.
Oh man,
he's gonna lower my volume.
Yeah. Oh man, you're muted. You're in timeout now.
Oh well, we are excited here for the final series today, and obviously this is all leading up to 3 different sets tomorrow. We'll end up having the losers bracket finals. Well, first I think it's the winners final, then the losers bracket finals, and then the much awaited grand finals. Marine Lord Puppy Paw, they've been able to chill today. They've been able to watch, hang out, relax, do some scouting like some of these other players haven't really been able to do.
Exactly. Just check up on the plays and whatever Civ picks their potential opponents might be going for. And it looks like the live draft is starting up now.
Whoa.
So it looks like our starting map
Something
is going to be
very noticeable to start out. Look at the bands over on the side of Louis.
Okay. So maybe we're going to see our first China game.
I believe. Well, I guess
that was a China game.
Yeah,
we had China versus H3. That doesn't count.
Honestly, the matchup, though, it was one that I felt like I was like, oh, that doesn't really count. There was one, it was on Cliffside, like we saw earlier, MSN versus Valdemar. China was able to get the win, so far undefeated, and they are definitely the S+, SS+++ tier Civ, as we have been seeing so far.
Yeah, China is definitely a force to be reckoned with, and we do see, of course, Louis, he's getting the opportunity, so immediately picks that. Makes a lot of sense. Would do the same for sure.
Yeah, Byzantines is the first priority pick from Wam. When it's China and House of Lancaster's banned, it's usually been Japan and Biz to follow up, but Wam wants a little bit of a change up here. Allows China to get through, and followed up with Rus as the pick from loueMT.
Yeah, so looks like we're not going to be witnessing a comeback here for Byzantines up against the Japanese, just courtesy of it being banned out immediately. Wondering if Wam is going to pick Japan on his side next. Yeah, he is actually going to be picking Japan next, so Louis doesn't even get the chance to ban it out. Next up, could be banning Juji, potentially.
Yeah, I mean, that's one where I've heard both of the Canadian bros talk about.
Malians.
Well, okay.
Yeah, also
Mali
a good
banned,
Civ for the Canadians, has to be
Mongols
said.
banned as well. But yeah, so Japan, high priority pick, and Wam probably feeling a little bit comfortable with getting Japan and Byzantines. As there's a divide there.
Man, I always confuse the sides, but yeah, Louis was the one that actually banned Mongols here up against Wam. That's an interesting one. I had chatted a little bit with the players, and sometimes oh yeah, against this player, sometimes it's better to ban against a player rather than ban against the meta. And this definitely feels like a ban against the player type play here, because Wam and Puppy Paw, they've been playing a lot of Mongols just in general. When they have the civilization, more often than not, it does actually make its way into the sets.
Yeah, and it's one that, you just mentioned the ban against the player, ban against the meta. The first two I feel like have always been the ban against the meta, and then it feels like the third ban that comes after the 2 priority picks has been a ban against the player, and that's exactly what it is here.
Ooh, English is coming through here for Louis. We've seen his English so far. It's been looking kind of interesting as well, right? 2TC with mass spearmen, mass longbowmen. I really enjoy the idea of that, and Louis has been executing it very well so far. Wham though, he's getting the Ottomans in, and Ottomans, yeah, Sipahi, that's the civilization. We could as well just rename the civilization to Sipahi.
Yeah, and that was actually the pick that Marine Lord was able to take down Louis on Frisian Marshes with. I was seeing Louis rewatch that game earlier today, so maybe found some improvements, maybe found some ways to outbeat that matchup if that is what Wham decides for, but also has KT to follow up, which is another high prio pick on Frisian Marshes.
And not just that, but we're also getting Golden Heights in, so maybe KT and Golden Heights could also be a very strong contender there. And loueMT getting Mongols in, so might be seeing a Knights Templar versus Mongol game on Golden Heights here.
Yeah, and that also could have been the reason for the Mongols ban as well. They're usually kind of high prioed on Golden Heights. We haven't seen Golden Heights picked a ton in this tournament so far. It's definitely been a few times here and there. There have been some shocking games, shocking build orders, shocking civ picks there, but Mongols has been one of the typical ones in previous history.
Indeed. So now we're going to be looking forward to seeing just which civilizations are going to be picked here for the first one. The last couple of picks now also making their way through. Wham picking Malians, which we banned away from loueMT, and loueMT choosing the Ayyubids here. Definitely also a civilization that definitely fits his playstyle. We do see, like, especially players like CSO, for example, as well. Like, Ayyubids is like one of those civilizations where whenever you see like a player like loueMT play Ayyubids, you can really feel the influence that he has on that civilization from team games, from the team game meta. It's like mass desert raiders a lot of times, and it really like just shines through there, just how many team games loueMT also has been playing.
Yeah, it really they get to showcase their micro, showcase their macro as well. Ayyubid's really kind of that timing civilization, usually trying to get up to castle rather quick, but also, like you said, might try to mass up some desert raiders, continue to micro those, and just use them to the fullest extent.
All right, so Frisian Marshes is going to be the first one here. We've seen Ottomans being very successful so far on Frisian Marshes, so wouldn't be surprised to be seeing something like Ottomans on that map. Cliffside is in the draft as well, so that is something where I would say Rus should be coming in for Louis. That kind of leaves China for Frisian Marshes, and like starting off with a very strong civilization here could definitely be an option. He could also just throw in a curveball and try to go for something like French, but French gets discounted quite a lot when you're up against the Ottomans. Just because
we all
of
knew what it was going to be. It's his high prior.
Okay,
it's English. It's his English.
This surprises me because he's done it so many times now. Like at this point, he has to assume that everybody knows, like, what the strategy is behind it. But Byzantines from Wham up against that. So we're getting a civilization that goes for 2 TC against a civilization that never goes or rarely goes for 2 TC. Byzantines 1 TC aggression is vile. So I can definitely like see a situation where Wham is just going to go for the all-in once he... I mean, he already knows that Louis is going to go 2 TC. There's no two ways around it.
I mean, maybe Louis playing the mental mind game and
you think?
No,
nah.
I don't. I think, you know, English is that civ that is like you're going to have to do something to me, especially when they go 2 TCs, but it's so hard to dive when both TCs are right there next to each other. There's a fat wood line behind. He's going to have that early farms dropped, usually kind of 2 sets of farms actually pretty early on, which makes it to where he doesn't need to go out to that fish. He doesn't need to go out to those deer, into some of those more vulnerable resources.
I'm wondering in this matchup what the mercenary choice here would be from the Byzantines, because of course you are in that unique position where you can mass a lot of longbows as the Byzantines, but English can also make longbows, so maybe this is a situation where instead you might want to be going for the javelin throwers. There's definitely choices to be made here. The question is which one will be made.
Yeah, and I mean, it is definitely hard to choose the longbows because your opponent can typically, at least especially earlier on, outmass you very, very easily in those longbows. And if you don't have the numbers with range, that's where you slowly get trickled down. You slowly start losing that mass, and it's so crucial to keep that mass big, keep that mass together.
Exactly. So we kind of know what loueMT is going to be going for. Wait.
Whoa.
Huh?
It was a change up, so... a little bit of a hiccup there.
Technical difficulty.
All
right.
Okay.
Apparently it was a misclick, but both players are going to be fine with this pick inside. I mean, kind of
makes a little bit more sense to me.
Yeah, like I saw like Byzantines, I was like, okay, is this something like in response to Louis that picking English? But yeah, Ottomans or Knights Templar, and that's like Wham has got Ottomans, so Ottomans is just good on any map in general, or like most maps in general at the moment. And Knights Templar are specifically really good on Frisian Marshes, so knowing that his opponent doesn't have access to the Ottomans as a counter to the Knights Templar, makes a lot of sense for Wam here to be going for Knights Templar, and we do now see both players here locking in, getting ready. We're soon going to be jumping into our first game of this set. Whoever loses this set is going to be out of the tournament. Gets to do some sightseeing here in Denver, Colorado, and the other one gets to continue up through the loser bracket.
Yeah, nerves are definitely starting to build up. Series is about to get started here soon. As far as that KT pick, we talked about it potentially being on Golden Heights, but Wam was one of the players that played Golden Heights already in this tournament. He opted for the Delhi, and I believe it was against Puppy, and Puppy just kind of had an early ability to kill 2 villagers out on the dock, and then he was fighting from behind, fighting against a fast Castle Burgrave, and wasn't able to hold.
That was a hilarious game. The Burgrave Palace just... There was this one really nice buff to the Burgrave Palace at one point where nowadays, like once you go for Burgrave infantry units, when they charge, they do 50% additional damage on their charge. And it's actually one of those things where suddenly, like men-at-arms, whenever they do charge and connect, it's a significant amount of damage coming through to the point where Ghazi Raiders, they can't just like cycle charge and heal up and just do the runaround there because the trades are just a lot more inefficient for them.
Yeah, Wam was able to take some somewhat decent trades early on. He was microing back to low health Ghazi, using scholars to heal him on up. But we all know how the feudal versus castle age goes. The longer you're stuck in feudal, the worse and worse it continues to feel. So that's exactly what happened that game. But those 2 villagers that died early on building the dock, that could have been a big difference in the overall scheme of things. So maybe learn from that. Maybe Louis also, watched that game and is going to, know that's Wam's potential plan as well.
All right, I believe that right about now it is time for us to be jumping into our game number 1 of this set here. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We're jumping right on into Frisian Marshes here in game number 1 between Wam01 and Dr. Dabson and Wam01 in the lower
Correct, I am playing.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, Dr. Dabson making it through here. Now, we got loueMT facing off against Wam01. Wam01 here in the color yellow playing as the Knights Templar up against loueMT in the color red playing as his feared English on Frisian Marshes. Are we going to see 2TC? The answer is 99% yes.
Yeah, I would say most definitely yes as well. Wam going ahead and, expecting that 2TC, and he's going to say, all right, I want to get my eco of my own, but I want to get that eco boom started early. So going ahead, immediately moving out on that fish. We've seen Knights Templar a lot of times go with the faster feudal and then go into the fish, but not in this matchup, not this game plan here.
Yeah, I mean, this is like one of the main strengths, of course, of a civilization that is going to be going for the docks on this map is their eco scaling starts a lot earlier than civilization that would go for 2TC, because the second TC comes in at like 5 minutes. Meanwhile, the first dock you're going to be able to drop like 1 minute into the game, and sure, at some point the shoreline fish are going to run out, but until then, you've got an insane tempo advantage.
Yeah, and we've also seen at times, too, where, the king will obviously come out for Louis, try to deny some of the dock expansion, but as a few units come out for Knights Templar, that could allow Wam to not just spread to the first 2, 3, 4 pawns. He might even try to opt for going over to Louis' side of the pawns and just taking as many as he possibly can, so there's really not this later drawback where your food goes dry.
This is one of the things, right? Because English... I mean, they do have the king, but other than that, they're not really too invested on pressuring out there on the map. You can get away with a play like that, blocking your opponent's pawns, and it truly does pay like a ton of dividends. That's how you're going to be able to keep up, not just with the English economy, but pretty much any economy in the game, if you're able to block the opponent's pawns as well. It's just roughly like an additional, I want to say like 1,500 times 7 worth of food that you're getting in there. So... Decent amount.
Yeah, just a little bit over there. Wam already expanded to the second pond. I'm sure he's going to try to follow that up soon after. Not too far delayed on the feudal age. As you can see, he's already started to move over to that gold. He's going to utilize that extra food income. And then feudal age is when the game starts to open up. That's when Wam kind of feels a little bit of that pressure, knowing that he is on a timer to stop that second TC boom.
Yeah, eventually that second TC is going to start really paying dividends, especially for a civilization like English that don't really have to move out on the map when it comes to gathering food. They're just going to be fine and content with making farms at home, and those farms are going to be providing a lot of value. Granted, they're half cost and generate a lot of additional food, so it's definitely one of those things where with the synergy with the second PC is definitely there and can be felt relatively quickly as well.
Yeah. So Abbey of the Kings, that first initial king, it feels like, you think it's going to be doing a lot of damage, and I mean, look at the age up timing. He's only going to be 25 seconds behind with also having that extra eco already.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Louis, he is kind of like delaying his age up a little bit, only aging up with 2 villagers, but still going to be at a pretty decent timing, and right around that time when the age up comes through, he is going to have enough resources for his second TC. Wondering if he's going to play it the same way he's been doing so far, just very far in the back and just trying to protect any potential farming economy that he's going to be putting up.
Wham debated on a barracks again. I think he didn't want to idle out building more fishing boats. So just delaying that because he's not going to be using that production immediately, whereas he does want more eco now.
Yeah, eventually you do want just a couple of spearmen just to not be bothered too much by that king. And I mean, at this point in time, Wham, he does have Scout over in Louis' space, so he will know exactly when that king is going to be coming out. And Louis is going to be about able to drop that TC in just a second. And it looks like it's going to be in that wood line. Yeah, it is going to be nice and defensive here inside of his base. And he's going to be able to, well, protect a lot of farmland with it as well. And look at that. Nice little campfire there from Louis. And with that, he might, yeah, it's going to, help him, see if Wham goes for his spawns, his side.
Just a little bit of extra vision for that later stages of the game. We have not seen him do that yet, so, maybe he did learn from that Marine Lord series of what we saw.
Yeah.
Every single TC he's dropped, though, there was one game where there was it felt like a primetime extra TC location he could have dropped. He doesn't opt for, anything greedy. He wants to be safe. It's always, diagonal to his initial TC, tucked up against that wood line.
Definitely a very safe position there for him. First Chevalier now for Wam01 in the queue. Second one right behind it is going to have a unit there to help him deal with that king. And Wham, he's trying to save his villager here.
He can just drop another layer,
yeah,
though.
Just layer up again. And he gets the second layer in.
What if he walls in the Scout here?
Oh! And he gets the other layer up.
Oh!
Oh, okay.
And,
Pilgrim's getting taken down, though.
Yeah, oh, that is...
Wait. Can he put a gate in the wall and just leave the Scout there?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. And now Louis not going to be able to gain more knowledge, not going to be able to gain more information for the time being.
He's stuck there. Yeah, that Scout is going to be stuck there for a while now.
Yeah, it seemed like such a, what you would expect Louis to do in reaction. Wham Scout, though, he sees this gold, sees the outpost getting built. It's about 90% of the way up, but charge comes through.
Those villagers, ooh, gets the wrong villager.
One more attack.
1 health!
He's going to go for it.
Oh!
He
canceled the attack!
Oh,
and the Chevalier
so
will potentially go down. 6 health remaining, but you can't heal him up.
Yeah, such a potential close
At the same time, Louis got a kill on Wham's side.
Yeah, Louis was able to pick up a kill here. That low
might get
health
another
villager is on its way out, but the king, it knows where it is. The Scout, while it's walled in, it still at least knows that there's a villager that's over there that he has been hounding on here.
He's going to try and hide inside the walls, but there's a Scout there, a hungry Scout, trying to go for the kill. At least it's going to take a little bit longer here on this side. Kill the villager, but yeah, he doesn't have anything nearby in order to save that villager, so that one is going to be unfortunately going down.
What if he tries to just connect the wall again and get in between these two walls?
Oh, Louis not looking, Louis not looking. Oh, he is looking.
And look at what Louis always does behind this. Already has a full set of farms next to those English TCs, so he's not going to be worried about running out of sheep early. He's already got a great eco boost food-wise for himself.
And this time we're going to be seeing a stable actually coming up here from him, so it looks like it's going to be a... He's got a second Scout out. Oh yeah, so he really wants to just control and get vision. We are going to be seeing a lot of spearmen, potentially also with the additional archers here from Wham, could be also seeing some horsemen coming in.
And great reaction time by Louis, but also great reaction time by Wam just to pull those archers back and not allow any outpost fire, any outpost damage to come down onto those archers. But look at what Louis does. He sees the king pulling on back, and then no archers able to get taken out. Wam already has 10 archers built up for himself.
That's quite a bit. That's going to be almost enough to one-shot those spearmen here. Scout, slowly but surely, is trying to make his way out of that little prison that's been built for him. Also seeing archery range, and now an additional barracks coming in. So Louis, he just really wants to get a lot more military out on the field. Lots of farms already built by him, so food is going to be coming in quite nicely. But Wam, he's about to be able to take up the Castle Age.
Yeah, not too far away from Castle Age at all, while still pressuring, while not necessarily pressuring and doing damage, but at least causing annoyance, at least causing reactions from Louis over here.
Pilgrim also every now and then connecting to that sacred site, so he's going to be getting that nice little trickle in of gold. And Ancient Empire means that we are most likely going to be seeing some heavily armored spearmen from Wam.
Absolutely trying to attack this king, trying to get this king picked off before getting on home. Archers getting close to be able to connect with some shots, but doubt they're going to get enough damage to finish this off.
And Louis, active with the scouting, is going to be seeing those barracks getting dropped, and with the A-job, will know that Wam, he's about to be spamming a ton of these heavily armored spearmen, so his response is going to be a lot more archers, a lot more spearmen. He just needs mass in order to deal with them. Do note, heavily armored spearmen might just probably be better to make men-at-arms, honestly. They don't have, like, they're moving at the same pace as men-at-arms, but they do less damage, right? Do they have less HP? I'm actually not sure if they have less HP or more. Can we actually select one of them? How much health does a 140? Actually, that's not bad. But a men-at-arm has 155.
And that heavy spearman just ignore. Okay, there's the one that I expected. I'm shocked he didn't try to jump in the outpost, get that scout killed. However, I kind of laughed at Louis. He built that stable solely so he didn't have to idle his TC to make another scout.
Yeah.
It's so important for him to get that economy fully online.
And with the 2 fully set up mills, he is now just looking for a fast Castle Age follow-up behind this. Already up to 7 of the heavily armored spearmen here at the moment from Wam. But he hasn't been able to put too much pressure on Louis yet, and I do fear that the H-up should be coming in rather shortly from Louis, and at this point in time, he does have a pretty sizable economy lead.
Yeah, has a nice economy lead. Was able to just get a villager picked over there, so Wam not quite equalizing the kill count there, but almost here. Another villager building the wall, building the gate, able to get back in time.
Here's armor level 2 has been completed, so now these spearmen are going to be extra tanky up against what loueMT has. Age up. He does have enough gold, and there it is. White Tower now getting rushed up.
But Wam knows it. He's attacking at this exact time. He's all-inning at the exact time that Castle Age is going up. Heavy spearmen moving on forward. Archers trying to clear out the rest of the spearmen that Louis had, but look at how many villagers are on this white tower. It will be going up, microing away the lower health villagers the best he can. Only 2 villagers have been, 3 now total have been picked off by Wam, and the white tower now will help clear, help push these units away.
Yeah, loueMT now with a very defensive landmark inside of his base. It is going to be very difficult for Wam to aggress further here. Instead, he is going to start just continuously booming with the dock plate behind. This is going to start knocking the pawns over on the side from Louis' base. Behind this, Wam, he could also go for a static push, keep Louis a little bit contained inside of his base, because Louis doesn't actually have that many units out on the field at the moment. He has only 2 farm clusters, so that's a total of like 15 villagers on food. Wam actually has more food income at the moment. Granted, Louis just idled a lot, but without any economy upgrades, I think Wam can kind of like choke Louis out a little bit inside of his base and go maybe for a static siege push as a follow-up.
Yeah, and you can see what his main goal is right now. Just deny Louis' gold. This is Louis' only gold, so what huge benefit is Castle actually giving him if you can't upgrade your units, if you can't get those extra technologies? It's not too much.
Little sneak operation here, but Wam, he's going to be able to see this once his docks get built on these pawns, as the docks do provide a lot of line of sight. Can we actually quickly check the line of sight? Is he going to be able to see this? I feel like at the very least he's going to be able to see the mining camp once that comes up.
Yeah, he should be able to. Once he sees that, it will be a quick turn as far as the army goes. Able to take some of these trades. Heavy spearman mass is built up fast. You can see how much military Wam has in comparison to Louis. Wants to turn that into economic damage. Yep, notices it immediately. Look at him turning that way. Louis now is in trouble. Louis knows this, knows he's in trouble as well. Gonna try to hide those villagers.
He is running. Wam splitting up his army.
And I love this from Wam. If he does full commit over to those other gold vills, he loses his main goal, which has been denying the front gold right now.
So far, without gold, Louis has been struggling quite a bit. Hasn't been able to get veterancy on the Lombos. Doesn't even have any blacksmith upgrades at all so far. Finally able to click the veterancy upgrade on the Lombos, but even then, that is not going to be enough baseline to help him up against these heavily armored spearmen. He needs some blacksmith upgrades on top of that to really be able to penetrate through that armor that they have. He's now going to be going over to Stone in the top corner.
Is he dropping a dock over there, or is that just one of those heavy spearmen he slips?
That's one heavy spearman, I do believe. It's just trying to find stuff. Yeah, there's 3 spearmen there, and there's one just like looking around for stuff.
Yeah, so looking for where that last group of villagers went on over to. Heavy spearmen diving under the white tower. So Wam trying to take some trades here, but he takes so much damage from this ranged mass.
Yeah, every little bit just counts here in this one, and behind this Wam, he hasn't really started to really move into siege or anything like that, which he eventually will probably need to do if he wants to get past that white tower. Just starting to add more and more archers. We do see some monks coming in as well. One relic has already been collected for Wam, so we'll be able to at least get some additional scaling in that way. loueMT still with a slight villager lead at this point in time, but I think overall Wam isn't too far behind when it comes to resources gathered.
And look at his production. The big problem, oh, I love this too, going to grab some relics. But the big problem for Louis is he's actually running out of space. We've seen him start to try to move out a little bit, try to drop some extra production, but every production building he drops makes the next cluster of farms that he needs so much more difficult. He's got 15 on food. That means it's mainly just the 2 clusters of farms, and he finds the villagers. This is so crucial.
That's
another set of villagers having to run around. May not, get fully killed off right now, but idle time, just as you mentioned.
Yeah, idle time, and Louis, I mean, at least he can use the stone maybe for sprinkler placement on the white tower, just even further fortifying that position. He's mainly got only longbows now at this point in time. The heavy spearmen, sure, they tank a lot, but the crazy thing with longbows is that they just are able to penetrate through the armor so effectively, even with only 1 blacksmith upgrade now. Look at them, they're just able to completely eviscerate these spearmen bit by bit. It takes a while, but these little back and forths from Wam, these are traits that don't favor him.
Yeah, he's trying to, get as much damage as possible, but every time he steps into that white tower, just feels like he loses more and more units and not valuing the trade he's actually getting.
Wam once again has to retreat here. Now we do see the first siege coming in. It's going to be a mangonel for Wam. Find some more villagers there. Is going to idle some out.
Yeah, tons and tons of idle time that he's been causing for loueMT on his side all over the place. Louis still only at a 16 villager lead at this point, so Wam has been able to at least, not allow the second TC boom to fully go into the fullest effect.
Same time, though, destruction value does not really favor Wam at all. He's destroyed 2,000 resources worth, and Louis, he destroyed 5,000. Total income, though, Wam is actually far ahead of Louis. The second TC just hasn't even been close to paying off yet, especially with all the idle time that has been caused.
Yeah, a couple spearmen burning down a dock. Surprised, or not, I guess he doesn't have the gold to do it yet, but we saw him in the previous game against Myriad just build a ram and start taking down as many docks as possible. These villagers still alive, still trying to escape those heavy spearmen, finding another stone node that they're going to try to start gathering from. But Mangonel, first shot goes down, nothing crazy, but makes it to where the longbow's not the easiest unit mass to keep stepping forward.
Yeah, we're already at the second Mangonel, third one also in queue. This isn't exactly like a mansionic, so it's not like the most dangerous type of siege unit. But at least with that, Wam should be able to start at least harassing the buildings a little bit from loueMT from range.
Yeah, Louis now dropping that third cluster of farms. Luckily for him, just been mainly focusing on the longbows. But look, Horseman finally in queue as well. Looks like there was a good Mangonel shot. I see a lot of those longbows at about a quarter health.
Yeah, Mangonel took some good damage here, but also took some damage as well. Getting forced into a choke point. This could be very good for the Mangonel if it gets a shot off.
Villagers having to jump inside, having to idle, and it's not just 3-4 clusters of farms. It is looking like Louis is now getting that full farm boom going on.
Mangonel at the back. Looks like Lombos are trying to step up. Could be trying to shoot down that Mangonel. Not as tanky as they used to be up against these archers. So you have to pay a lot of attention to that. Pull a villager forward just to be able to heal that up. With the Knights Templar, of course, you're also always going to be able to gather very effectively. And these villagers still alive. Oh, but Wham, he knows. He knows that something's up. And I'm not sure if he's going to aggro onto them there.
Yeah, I don't think it's quite close enough, but now the next two Mangonels are moving forward. Longbows are probably going to try to take this trade here. Good dodge by loueMT on that one.
Almost a hit.
Next Mangonel, though, sets up. It's when one is there, it's pretty easy to dodge. Once three gets set up, it becomes so much more devastating with this AoE.
Every little bit counts, right? Like, once you get a good connection in, that's going to be a lot of units immediately losing a lot of their health. And look at how Wham has just been continuously massing these heavy spearmen. Now that Louis is switching into mass horsemen, that is when they're really going to start, like, realizing their value up against the cavalry units here.
Yeah, farms now outside of the White Tower range, but Wham doesn't care. He is diving the main TCs. These three Mangonels, they can start firing down on the longbows. They can start burning those farms too once the AoE hits that as well, so it can kind of be overall very, very effective. First couple shots starting to go down.
Veterancy isn't in yet.
Horseman running through.
Not all of the heavy spearmen are here though.
Not at all, but Mangonel's at least able to stay circled, able to stay alive, getting their AoE shots down for now, but the Horseman mass is starting to thin. There's a lot more in queue. Is this going to be enough? Is this going to be the timing that Wham needs?
So many of these longbows going down, so many of the farms also going down. King
huge
goes down.
Mangonel shot on that one.
6 Mangonels at the moment on their way to Louis' base. He's lost most of his military, now down to just 1940 over on the side from Wham.
And I love the
getting
outpost
pulled.
too.
Oh, the villagers! Mangonel gets a shot off there as well. Even more shots, so many longbows losing their lives.
Louis trying to do everything he can. Torches are coming out, trying to go burn down these Mangonels, but Wham, he still has an army mass here. Longbow stepping forward, doing as much damage as they can, but this seems like a huge timing for Wham.
Louis sending out even more villagers here, time after time against Sacred Side victory. Also now on the board here for Wham.
Wham's ahead in villagers.
That is crazy.
36
that is crazy.
villager
He threw
kills.
so many villagers away to try and kill the Mangonels, yet there are still 4 on the field. Wham, the Knights Templar, they get a huge discount on the siege and it really starts manifesting here.
Yeah, and farms have been, burnt, so not all of that farming economy is not fully online anymore. Still 4 Mangonels out front and forward. Louis still low onto the gold for the time being, but has 9 villagers on it.
More villagers getting pulled forward to be able to repair the siege, get an outpost up, get that vision in as well. Louis, his food, it slowed down 900 food per minute. Wham actually contesting the food count there in that regard as the Knights Templar up against like a fully set up army economy from the English.
And look, Wham has 1 villager on gold, has 1,600 gold in the bank, has 3 relics in store, a forward fortress being dropped now as well. Wouldn't even hate to see a market drop from Wham to, maybe utilize that gold elsewhere if he's not going to be able to spend it as fast as he's getting it in.
Now, with these villagers in a forward position, could also drop a siege workshop and start getting some of those trebuchets. And never forget, the Knights Templar trebuchets do a lot of additional damage as they shoot an extra projectile with it as well.
Look at the queue from Louis right now. He's only doing horseman crossbow now. That longbow mass has been significantly diminished, and this plays right into Wham's hands with the heavy spearmen.
Heavy Spearman definitely now starting to really pay off up against the horseman transition that loueMT has made. We only just now see the first couple of crossbows, and it's just Louis, he struggled so hard when it came to getting that gold in. And now, finally, the Mangonels start taking down the infrastructure here inside of Louis' base, and it's such a tightly packed base. It is incredibly difficult for him to rebuild all of these buildings somewhere else. He just doesn't have the space for it.
Yeah, and look at, I mean, he had pulled away a lot off of to the woodline. Wololo attempted on the horseman, able to back on away, but the more important thing, Sacred Site timer is still ticking down for the time being. Well, not while the units are on there, but should be able to push these away with just one more heavy spearman.
One is not going to be enough, though. Horseman able to take that one down, and I don't think there's any unit close enough here.
Rams coming down as well. Wham wants to make sure that if he's not going to defend these TCs, well, they're not going to be producing here soon.
And just even more production buildings going down. These Mangonels, bit by bit, just taking up so much value here. loueMT finally able to secure some gold out on the map.
This feels like the old Siege meta. There's 2 Trebs, there's 7 Mangonels, and Wham has the massive military mass to defend these Mangonels, to defend these Siege units.
Louis, he's struggling so much with this. 21 horsemen now up on his side, but against 35 heavy spearmen, that is definitely not something that he can effectively win up against. Horsemen now trying to go for a little dive. Do get repelled by the fortress and by the remaining units out here from loueMT. Crossbow's also able to deny a little raid there with them. Up
TC's gone down, though. First CC goes down. Now they're equivalent on the TC mass. And he's just going to go for landmarks. Yeah. Abbey of the Kings, trebuchet. Halfway there. 3rd trebuchet, 4th trebuchet in queue. Wham is in control and feeling it here in game number 1.
Definitely setting the pace in this one. Turning up with the aggression here. Another fortress coming in. Not quite sure where, but looking at the army value lead here, 7,000 army value. Oh, it's just right there.
Double down, triple down. You might as well with this push. He knows if he can take down the White Tower, it is game over.
One last landmark remaining. Louis is trying to get some siege in from his White Tower, but it doesn't feel like it's going to be enough here. We do see those fire shots coming out from those Knight Templar counterweight trebuchets. Extra projectiles coming in, doing additional damage here to the buildings. Horsemen try to wrap around, aren't going to be able to find it, aren't going to get taken down.
He's going to have to dive under double fortress. Mangonel shots! Oh my god!
Horseman dive.
Horseman dive, but it's under the fortresses. It's on top of these heavy spearmen. Yeah, he might be fine with losing a couple Mangonels, but if it's all of Louis' mass, this is game over. 1 goes over to Wham.
What a game. Brutal aggression, and it's just unbelievable after all of this time at the beginning here with that 2 TC play from the English. Wham had like 10,000 more resources gathered at the end of it.
Yeah, I mean, he just knew exactly what he wanted to do, keep up the pressure, get that castle out, and it wasn't a dive on the TC and throw away the units. It was poke, prod, deny gold, delay the gold. How long did it take for veteran longbows to come in?
A long, long time. Those were just feudal age longbows for the majority of the, I want to say, like for the first like 10, 12 minutes here. Definitely was a very tough one for Louis. We've seen the strategy like time and time again, so Wham definitely knew what he was up against and knew that, okay, I can just put a dock on every single pond on this map and boom, up as well. Economy count. The 1 villager pull there to try and take down the Mangonels. That is a big drop off there in the villager department.
I mean, the thing is if he didn't pull the vills, he knew he was losing the TCs and losing the farming economy, losing the military fight. So it was trying to do anything he could to stop it. And instead, it threw away his economy lead that he had worked so preciously to build.
Exactly. At the end, Louis was not able to win this one. That seemed a little bit reversed at the bottom left side because Wham was also able to get like all 5 relics in, and 5 relics, 400 gold per minute. Nobody's going to be able to say no to that. Next up, though, Louis is going to be able to decide which map will be played next here. Got Pigeon's View, Golden Heights, Dry Arabia, or Cliffside as an option here for him. Yeah. English out now. I feel like most players would agree English probably not the best civilization at the moment, and trading out English for Knights Templar on Frisian. Typically, you don't want to like throw away civs in a best of 5. I think like this is a stomachable loss. You can be fine with that as long as you like don't lose 2 more games.
Yeah, you're definitely right. You know, most players are not even prioritizing English by any means, except for Louis. And speaking of the big priority pick, China, we're getting to see it for the second time this whole tournament, playing against Mali here.
This is an interesting one. So China, similarly to Zhuji, we're kind of like in a pro scout meta when it comes to them. But I feel like with a fast castle age timing, both China and Zhuji kind of struggle with getting that timing in to try and punish Malians or try and take them down very quickly. Like Malians with their Donzos and just overall with their unit kit, they do typically have all the tools that they need in order to survive like fast castle aggression just with more units out there. China is a lot better at going for follow-up after early aggression though, compared to Zhuji. Song Dynasty, you get villagers out a lot faster and just in general, like a lot more taxes from the Imperial Academy, free Imperial officials. The economy is looking very good for China, but once that cow boom comes up, Mali, in any situation, is a fearsome opponent.
Yeah, and this is one of those that if Wam is able to take down China, which would be a huge upset as far as civilizations go, he's got to be feeling really good going into the next couple maps with Byzantines, with Japan, with Ottomans under his belt, and even Delhi as well. Very, very strong civilizations, very favored civilizations in this tournament so far.
Yeah, I mentioned it earlier, definitely setting the pace with the first one with nice Templar here in Mali. That is like one of those like civilizations that really fit the playstyle of the Canadians. We see them time and time again on the Malian civilization, and they perform excellently with them. So I think it's going to be very similar here in this one. It's definitely going to be one where I say that China, they're really strong. Really strong. Do not get me wrong. Like, high S tier at the very top
I know that's
echelon.
one of your favorite civs out there.
Yeah, exactly. But Mali, they're not too bad against them. This is like one of the matchups where China isn't like guaranteed a victory. It's not like a 70-30% win chance. It's much more like 50-50 between them.
Yeah, so Wam kind of feels like he's still winning this draft with leaving China open and then having those civs left on over. We saw his Mali play in the last series. Felt like it was, you know, one of those disadvantageous matchups playing against Delhi. He was able to still take the dub there. So let's head into game number 2. Wam playing Mali, loueMT playing Chinese. Already seeing the pit mine, already seeing the houses start to get built around it, getting up to feudal age as fast as possible. China is one of those crazy, crazy civs that all of a sudden it'll be like 330 and they're already aging up.
Exactly. They do not get that early supervision, but nowadays, like, people made the math and, yeah, like, early no IO does kind of, like, pay off, right? Like, you get, like, the additional villager out, and I would personally as well like advise for the no IO opening, as long as you don't want to go for a fast Song Dynasty. And fast Song Dynasty is just not something that we see at the moment, so most likely will be just a very fast age up here, as you mentioned, like 3 minutes 30, maybe sometimes even like 3 minutes flat on the dot when China does go for that age up.
Yeah, and then once that age up happens, that's when they pump those few extra Imperial officials on out. And then they're getting that tax gold, the juicy, juicy tax gold in, and that will help support that Pro Scouts play that Louis is sure to do here soon. Seeing these scouts circle around, seeing...
It's that beautiful extra line of sight that you get on a Chinese scout. He just sees absolutely everything here. The entire screen just filled up there.
Yeah, it makes it very, very nice scouting, but looking like the sheep count is favoring Wam so far, and China's definitely a civ that you like to have the sheep advantage. You like to be able to drop a bunch of sheep under that initial mill to, again, continue that tax gold, continue that supervision.
Good amount of sheep here so far gathered up by Wam. We do see the Imperial Academy coming in, 5 villagers working on that, so it is going to be an incredibly quick age up here from him. Wam now also aging up with the Manzikori, 4 villagers working on that one. Good amount of houses already around that initial pit mine, so the question is going to be, are we going to see a contest here when it comes to the pro scouting from loueMT, or is Wam just going to immediately be going for that cattle play? We've seen from B, like, going for the first 3 cattle and then following that up with just mass military. That could also be something that we'll see.
Yeah, and that's kind of what he did against Delhi on the last series. When it feels like, you know, sometimes Mali goes a little bit overly greedy where it's full cow boom and then they don't have the military mass to contest pro scouts or to be able to defend if a push does come in. But against Delhi, he did 3, he did 6, and then he waited for a while, took a couple engagements, then only started to add more cows in when he felt comfortable to do so.
Jump did come in rather quickly. That's a lot of taxes already sitting inside of that mill for loueMT, so we'll definitely want to collect those as soon as possible. Ayyub shortly completing for Wam. Already has that mill out there, so we'll most likely be starting off immediately with a couple of cattle here as soon as the Ayyub comes in.
Yeah, exactly. Village going to go ahead and be dropped by loueMT, give him that massive extra population space here soon. Also a nice spot to hide some villagers if there is some pressure that comes out, although Mali not known for their early aggression.
Lumber camp now also getting dropped. IO switching the supervision over to that lumber camp, as that's where the majority of villagers are working on to get the maximum benefit. Now additional IOs also making their way onto the field will be able to spread the supervision onto multiple buildings there as well.
It was wheelbarrow the first choice from Wam first, not cows initially yet. Although multiple villagers moving over to that wood line allows him to drop that production, allows him to drop those cattle ranches, and more importantly, try to move out and get the second pit mine rolling for himself.
Just scout out there. We are actually getting a stable, so could be seeing some warrior scouts as well as Sofa.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of warrior scouts are very, very great in denying that pro scouts, or at least delaying that pro scouts, and sometimes that's all that this is about. It's not fully denying it, it's just making it difficult for Louis to get that initial deer set in, to get that initial economy up and running.
Could also just force a barracks rather than a stable first from loueMT, so it's going to be the question, which production building is he going to be dropping first? Is it going to be a barracks, or is he just going to go for a stable straight away? Warrior Scouts has been upgraded. It is actually going to be a barracks, so the reaction is there from loueMT. Sees the Warrior Scout and knows, okay, I will need to get some spearmen in if I want to ferry those deer home.
Exactly. Able to go ahead and finish up that pro scouts. That also means less scouts are able to move out and about. Needs to secure the location first, and then he can start ferrying in the deer once he feels comfortable about doing so. First initial scout, doing at least grabbing that first deer.
Every little bit counts.
Every little bit does count, but the scout's ready and waiting now, and it's one easy spot for Wam to try to focus here, as both deer packs are rather close, which can be a blessing. It also could be a curse.
No Prescott from Wam. He's just killing them in order to make the pickup a little bit more difficult for Louis. Won't be able to click them through the fog of war. Is going to have line of sight on them to be able to click the deer carcasses there.
And now we have seen the first couple cows come out, so cattle ranch on its way. The second pit mine has been fully finished, houses all the way around it. So passive economy for Wam is already starting to get up and running. We can see the last few outlines of those houses. So really, really solid opening game here so far. But this is where China starts to get dangerous, is when those first couple deer carcasses start to head on back, when those villagers can start gathering on those. And obviously they have the IO bonus of not running out of them quite as quick.
Yeah, with the combination of the supervision and the survival techniques upgrade, those deer just gather up so efficiently, getting so much food per minute with it. It's kind of skyrocketing, and we are going to see exactly that. The total resource per minute graph here is going to shoot up for China here very, very quickly. loueMT, he's going to pump out a couple more units. We see spearmen, we see horsemen making their way out for him. Wam hasn't really put up any military out on the field yet, so we'll have to start working on that.
Yeah, first Sofa just now in queue, but Louis already has the reactionary units that he needs for that Sofa. It's those spears that we already talked about. Speaking of those spears, there are now a couple units arriving at Wam's initial pit mine. Has to force him off of the gold. At least for now. Wants to get a little bit more gold before leaving that location, but a second spear arrives, and that is when he just turns tail and actually goes right back to the gold.
Sometimes, you know, like, you imagine your opponent isn't just going to go right back the second you leave, but when they just go right back the second you leave, it kind of feels like, okay, the value there was just not there at all.
Yeah, and Wam did have that archery range being built, first couple archers on out, so those spears, if they had stayed a little bit too long, might have taken too much damage of what he wanted to be. But second, deer pack is almost fully gathered up already, and Wam is posturing near the deer pack on his side, wants to make sure that Louis isn't able to secure a third one. That is really when things start to get very, very scary.
Louis behind us, though, he's putting up a lot of military units. We're 17 to 7 military units out in the field at the moment, so this is kind of difficult for Wam to keep up with. We're at 700 to 1,000, over 1,000 food per minute here at the moment for loueMT. Now at 1,100, it's just really shooting up, courtesy of that pro scout play here. That he's able to put so many more resources into military production compared to his opponent.
Yeah, you can see Wam's plan, though. There's a reason why he's behind in military. He's halfway as far as the resources go to castle. We saw this a lot last series where he was the first one clicking up, the first one aging up, trying to get that, you know, Grand Filani Corral benefit a little bit sooner, even if he might not have the full set of cows out and around. But he will have to worry about losing some of these passive resources with that secondary pit mine.
Ooh, horsemen are getting distracted a little bit by that one scout. Louis is going to start picking up some of the deer there, but yeah, as you mentioned, Wam, he's getting very close to being able to click that trigger on the age up.
Yep. First deer has been stolen. Horseman trying to push that scout away, trying to focus that lower health villager onto the gold, but Wam able to pick up the horseman, able to snipe down that spear most likely as he's aging up. Not last cattle ranch, but next cattle ranch is on the way as well.
Grand Filani Corral coming up with 14 cattle here, so Wam, he's going to be getting a good amount of food per minute, though. At the same time, loueMT has already got 31 units out on the field. Wam doesn't really have enough here to fully compete with that. Blacksmith upgrades also coming in for Louis. I'm wondering if he's just going to like go for an all-in the second that age up triggers here. For Wam, doesn't really look like he's trying to go for a castle age on his side. No villagers on gold at all. It's all just wood and food. He's getting ready to just dive as soon as the age up comes through, and I do believe that we're going to be seeing that here very soon. Age up now finishes.
Yeah, he has that 1-1-1 army mass as well. We saw another stables drop. He's on double range. Archer's a little bit far forward, but TC Fire should be able to help this mass from not going down fully, at least not without some damage done. But Louis, he does exactly what you mentioned. Castle Age finishes, he's diving TC, he's going in onto Wam's base right now.
Enzo's trying their best in order to buffer up against the horsemen here. Archers now also arriving, though. Archers from Wam trying their best up against the couple of spearmen that are there. 9 spearmen still remaining, not over here at the front side, though, at the moment. Villagers inside the TC going to be firing from that position. Wam just trying to produce as many units as possible from the production buildings that he has there. Not too many feudal age or rather castle age upgrades coming in here for him at the moment. Able to survive the aggression here so far, but he's been put off resource for a while and actually has to slaughter some of his cattle here to keep his villagers working.
Yeah, needs to continue to get up that food, and I think he knows the position he's in. If he defends this, he's going to be in a great spot. But if he's not able to get more food, get more units out, it's all but over. So slaughters the cows, starts to get that juicy beef under the TC and gathering from it, and still trying to replace those back into the cattle ranch.
Yeah, villagers, they try to gather up a little bit more gold there from the top gold mine. Rotation, though, means that he is going to get forced off that yet again, so a lot more villager idle time being caused there yet again.
And if this pit mine goes down, there goes all the passive gold income that he's been building up. Sofa trying to step forward, still a decent amount of spears here. As I say that, 3 of the spears, though, do get focused down a little bit. There's only, looks like maybe 3 or 4 total spears here for loueMT. So Sofa, they want to take this fight. They are pushing forward, pushing loueMT away, at least for the time being.
There we go, spearmen do get taken down. This is without imported armor, though, so the Sofa only with 3 armor here, up against 6 damage from the archers. They are going to be able to do a significant amount of damage here to the Sofas. They don't have that much health on them after all. Market now gets dropped. Wam, he desperately needs the gold here, so is going to have to start selling some other resources in order to be able to continuously produce these Sofa.
Yeah, he wants to get back on the gold. You can tell how needed it is. It almost looks like he needs to move over to the other gold, but it's going to be hard to gather from that from further away. Deletes the house. That's exactly his plan. Going to rebuild the pit mine and build a mining camp on over there. Just allow this location to go down and give him the time, hopeful time to stabilize, but it is looking dire.
Trade out some resources now, has enough for some more veterancy upgrades. Is going to be able to get the veterancy upgrade on the archers, so that could be another unit to go for. And looks like Louis, he's just diving. He's diving onto the cattle economy. He's just going to try and burn down the cattle ranches. Ayyub comes in behind all of this from him as well. Imperial Palace just got dropped.
It's absolutely wild with the Chinese economy. Just idles production just for a little bit. They are also able to build this super, super fast. Wam, able to push off at least for a little bit of time, was able to resecure his second gold, but Castle Age finishes. It should be immediate veterancy upgrades here soon from loueMT. And sure enough, veterancy on the spears, veterancy on the horsemen, and Louis knows that Wham's been back on the gold. He's got an idea, has to know a little bit about it. Diving onto those gold villagers, a little bit of a late pull here, but so far here, body blocking, so far here doing damage. Really good ability from Wham to cut that off, but there's the rest of the army. There's no way he can hold this location.
He's gonna have to make a run for it. Villagers trying their best in order to get out of that place. Not enough archers here as well from Wham in order to really do meaningful damage up against these archers from Louis, which are already vetted up as well. Wham once again trying to get some gold on the other gold mine there. Louis just always there, ready to deny any attempt of gathering that gold, and Wham, he's now housed.
Yeah. Housed right now, desperately needs to drop some houses. You can see him doing it on the backside, but desperately needs gold, desperately needs units. He needs everything to try to not have the series tied up here.
Archer stepping forward. Wham doesn't have as many, so he really needs to pay attention. Cannot take any straight up engagements up against the army from Louis at the moment. Now also Knights getting added behind all of this for Louis.
Wham, though, seems like he is getting at least a second to breathe. Louis pulling his mass back for the time being. But now circling back to the next gold again. It's back and forth, back and forth. Deny the gold as much as you possibly can. That is Mali's heart. They need gold to do anything.
16 Sofa now at the moment. Couple of Sofa also in the back of loueMT space, trying to do some damage there.
Has Lancers, though, chasing to be able to deal with the Sofa, and not too many Lancers, just enough to adequately push those away.
Every time Wham tries to get a little bit of gold there, Louis is there with his army. Total villager idle time is ramping up here as the game goes on for Wham.
Yeah, you can see the eco idle time for Wham, 75% compared to 90% from loueMT, and it feels like it should be worse than that, as Wham has been constantly balancing back and forth, walking around, not gathering, not allowing the villagers to be the fullest efficiency.
Wham now also causing just a little bit of idle time there on his side, and it looks like he finally is able to stabilize and get some of his own economy going behind us. He's actually starting to get more food per minute in than Louis is. This is still a dangerous timing here for him. Louis once again going for the dive.
Lancers are in this match this time for Louis. Veterancy upgrades have been in for a while, but is deterred again for the time being. Not too much eco deaths have gone over on Wham's side, so Mali still not in the worst position, surprisingly.
Here's Armor level 2 is missing at the moment for Wham, so these archers from Louis, or rather the Knights, the armored units from Louis, they're not going to be able to take too much damage here. Meanwhile, Louis, he has all the archer upgrades, so he's going to be able to do a good amount of damage even up against the armored units from Wham. The potted armor, I believe, is also still missing.
Wham just has not been able to get enough gold. Imported armor is there, but there are spears on the side of Louis. There's no Donzo on the side of Wham, but engagement is forced to be taken. It's on the wood line. Villagers all near. If Wham loses this fight, it is all but over here for this game. Archers trying to do everything they can. Louis sniping down all of the back line for the time being. Sofa have to push back. Looks like he will be winning this engagement and potentially winning this game.
Wham's army, it's falling. It's forming rapidly. The archers, they keep pushing forward from Louis, keep sniping the archers from Wham. A lot of idle time over on Wham's side as well here behind all of the Senate Knights. They're just too strong. They're able to push past the Sofa into the base of Wam. The woodline now exposed. Villagers having to idle out. A lot more villagers now going down for Wam. With this, I think Louis, he's now in a position to start torching down the cattle ranches. And once those go down, there's truly no way back for Wam.
The villagers, they don't know where to go, but Louis, he sees exactly where they're walking, exactly where they are trying to escape to, and Wham, he calls it. loueMT ties up this series.
GG gets called, yeah. Louis now able to get a win on the board as well. And even serious here, China, high value civilization here, and Louis able to get the value out of them. It was a close one, albeit, but in the end, China bringing Louis the victory here. So next up, Wam, he's going to be able to choose a map. And, you know, with his draft, he definitely has a lot of opportunities here in this one. Louis, Cliffside, I do believe that is going to be a ruse pick. Could also, in theory, come in on Pigeon's View, but I think the map just synergizes a lot more. Pigeon's View, that is, with a civilization like Ayyubids, as there are additional berry spots on Pigeon's View to get use out of. And we have Golden Heights. Mongols, definitely a suitable choice there for loueMT on that one. Wam, we've actually seen Delhi also a fair bit on Golden Heights.
And I mean, we see this economy count, we see the economy graph, but
yeah,
the graph doesn't show the idle time here. That's where the total resources show the idle time, show the effectiveness of the Chinese economy, and also the military value. Once Louis started production, he never stopped.
Exactly. It's just so many horsemen, so many spearmen, time and time again, pressuring those hit mines and just making sure that Wam cannot gather any gold. Makes it really hard for him to grab those upgrades, the veterancy upgrades, even though if they are discounted for the Malians, it is still difficult to get them when you get no gold at all. And just like that, able to choke Wam out of this game. Unfortunate, all the gold spawns there were forward for him. Definitely contributed a little bit there.
Yeah, and this is one where the graph, though, you laugh, you look at it, and you're like, wow, Mali didn't take that much damage. Usually with that many cows, they'd be in a fine position. But when all the houses, when the pit mines get burnt down over and over and over again, villagers are going from one side to the other, makes it so, so difficult. But the next map, the next matchup has been decided.
And it is going to be on Pigeon's View. We are going to be seeing the Byzantines coming in for Wam over here. Makes a lot of sense. We talked about just how many berries are there, and the Byzantines, they do get olive oil from them, so definitely a nice synergy there. And Ayyubids for loueMT, no surprise, also wants to get the maximum efficiency out of those berries.
Yeah, multiple berry-loving civilizations. This was the high prio pick for Wam as far as the civs go. That's where, you know, China just utilized for loueMT. Even though he lost, you know, happy to get the most OP civ out of the way and still be at a point where you're tied 1-1 in the series. loueMT, though, has to be feeling good. You know, losing game one, if you go down 2 games, you feel so bad. Reverse sweeps are so hard to get your mindset right. So hard to make sure you have enough matchups that are correct, that are actually still favored. You know, your opponent, when they're up, they can always use throwaway civs. They can always kind of try to surprise you with a different matchup and plan for game 4 or game 5 as well.
Exactly, exactly. Ayyubids, they're one of those civilizations where you have like multiple choices at this point in the meta when it comes to what you want to do. Typically, like Ayyubids, when they're in their own element, they go for like a fast castle age and they pump out those camel lancers. I think against Byzantines, though, like you really don't want to let them scale with the cisterns, right? Like we've seen MSN, for example, the way he played it against Marine, just very much balls to the wall aggression. And I think you do need something along those lines if you want to really like cut the Byzantine booming economy on 1TC a little bit short here.
Yeah, and I mean, that is one where Byzantines, they can always get that longbow number pumped up. Makes it so hard for Desert Raiders to kind of kite around with their lack of ranged armor as well. But Wam, you know, we saw him earlier on the Byzantines, able to, you know, get the 5 cisterns up and running, up and pumping. But that was against Japan, and Biz against Japan has not had a good record this series. Against other, or this tournament, but against other civilizations might be the different story.
Yeah, Japan so far, they've been making just some headlines here and there, and especially against the Byzantines. Ayyubids, that's going to be a new matchup, one that we haven't seen so far yet, so definitely going to be looking forward to that. We did talk about loueMT just being a little bit more of a laid-back player, so I'm wondering if he's actually going to be going for that aggression play, or maybe he's trying to look for something that's a little bit more safe, a little bit more macro-style focus, and Yeah, we'll just have to see exactly what kind of game plan he is going to be going for, whether it is going to be something similar to what we've seen previously from Ayyubids in this matchup, where it's just a lot of aggression, or maybe just laid back and more macro focus, as we are going to be jumping now into our game number 3. We do get our little cinematic view in on Pigeon's View. We do have our match starting up now. We've got Wam in the color red playing as the Byzantines, his opponent in the color yellow. It is going to be loueMT playing as the Ayyubids. I feel like colors are switched around.
We'll get it fixed up.
Yeah, we'll get it fixed up in a second.
Not too big of a deal. We know who's on what civ. That's the most important thing here. And so this is one where, like you said, what's going to be the early choice as far as age up for Louis? Wham! He already, though, is going onto that stone, getting that cistern economy pumped up and rolling. He's still staying on that stone, so he'll be at 3 cisterns in no time. I saw logistics click for a second. Yep.
Yeah, there it is as well. So is going to be going for a Dervish Wing opening. This makes a lot of sense when you are going to go for some aggression. Like if you were going to go for logistics just for the rally gathering, then you would typically go for it in Castle Age and prefer the economic wing growth in Feudal Age to get an even quicker timing up to Castle Age. Logistics in Feudal Age just kind of symbolize, okay, he wants to do at least a little bit of aggression, get that early healing in on his units and be able to get the maximum usage out of them with continuous healing.
Yeah, and we know how efficient these players are at micro, and if Louis does end up opting for Horsemen or opting for Desert Raiders, pulling them back as they're low health, as they've done a little bit of damage, and then, like you said, go over to those ambulances, just let them heal on up, get back to full, and then send them right back out for more aggression.
And Winery going to be coming in here for Wham, so he's going to be getting a nice little boost there on his berries. We'll be able to afford an additional pack of mercenaries from the very first berry patch here. Already on Cistern level 2, already has enough resources for the 3rd Cistern as well, so we'll be able to get a good amount of scaling in. Louis, as the Ayyubids, he can also get a little bit of scaling in with the Golden Age, up to 10%, so we'll also at least be able to keep up somewhat when it comes to the income bonuses there for the civilizations.
And some early aggression might not play into Wham's hands. Did you see where that Grand Winery location is? It is quite far out there. It is not close to TC. Seems like a pretty greedy Grand Winery location.
No real other options of putting it. Overall, it's still in the back, so it's not like the worst one out there, I want to say. The 2nd Cistern already out there as well. Rather, the 3rd one is going to be able to buff up the next berry patch as well.
Yeah, olive oil waiting to be gathered until right as we see now. Grand Winery finishes. So Wham going to try to get that olive oil pumping, trying to get some longbows in queue. Ambulance is moving on out, but no units out yet. Other than that, it's an archery range as the first drop there from Louis.
Alongside a stable, so it looks like we are going to get a very MSN-esque opening here from loueMT. We'll be trying to do as much damage early on as possible, try and deny those berries and just make it overall very difficult for Wham with the Byzantines to mass up the mercenary forces here.
Yeah, and Outpost even being dropped on that forward gold. I feel like Ayyubids are such a strong civilization as far as one that all of a sudden it feels like they're making units, and then they're aging up in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, this is an interesting one from loueMT, like 2 production buildings, but instead of following through with the production, sends a lot of villagers out to get an outpost up on the gold. And if we see at like the villager split on the resources, no villagers on wood at all. He is not trying to make any more military units. It is just production buildings for Golden Age Tier 1 from the looks of it, and now he will try to do a Castle Age follow-up behind this.
Yeah, just more of that timing-based attack in Castle Age. Let's see if Wham scouts it out. Let's see what Wham's play is to counteract this play.
The one Desert Raider that loueMT is going to have is going to live a long time, just courtesy of those dervishes. But Wham, he's already at the point where he's got enough olive oil to get some longbowmen out. And he does see the outpost, he does see the amount of villagers on gold, and he will know the game plan from Louis here that is going to be all about that fast Castle Age timing now.
Yeah, he goes ahead, immediately puts a few Limited into queue. The first Desert Raider is arriving on the side of those berry villagers next to the winery. He pulls back just a little bit.
Necrotoy defense is getting used, so we'll be getting some additional ranged armor here. Gonna have those villagers just get a little bit more value in. First, Amitani now is gonna be able to get some connections up against that Desert Raider, but the Dervish healing.
It's just going to be absurd here, but Louis, once the second one comes in, a little bit harder to out-heal the two loueMT attacking together, and a third one to follow. So needs to be careful, needs to utilize that mobility to run on away.
He's trying his best with the micro there with the stutter steps, but it is not going to be enough. That Dervish is going to have to pack his things and leave alongside with that Desert Raider. Behind us though, Louis, he is getting very close to his own age up. Can we take a quick look over at the berries and see, has he been microing that? He is going to be losing a couple of these berry bushes, but could also be an industry wing. We've seen many players also opting for the industry wing. Another option could be the reinforcement wing as well. But it is going to be the master wing, the economic wing growth here.
Yeah, I feel like this is one of those when you're choosing which age up you want. If you're feeling the pressure, you're feeling the damage, I feel like that's when you kind of go for industry or go for one of those alternatives. When you're able to click growth, you're feeling a little bit better. You're getting that extra villager count. Wham, though. Look at what he's got already invested into. He has siege engineering down. He is macroing up onto the wood. He wants to deny gold, wants to deny this gathering to be able to actually utilize castle, just like he did in the first game. Just pressure the gold. Even if your opponent's castle, they can't utilize that gold for anything if they don't have it.
And Wham behind this is going to be going for some immediate aggression now with that Kira Siphon. Strongest ram in the game, so it's definitely a way, an opportunity here for Wham to punish this age-up play from loueMT.
And he's also
coming in.
Yeah, using that extra wood too to drop some Wham walls, be nice and safe. Louis proactively pulls off the gold, and look at where he's already at. All the way in the eastern side of the map, already gathering a different spot of gold.
Oh man, this guy knows how to get those villagers out there, man. He knows how to keep them working, and yeah, we'll be able to continuously gather gold with that. Already has enough gold to at least be getting the veterancy upgrade in on his archers. Kira Siphon is going to start doing some more infrastructure damage here now. Archers do reveal themselves, so Wham is going to be pulling his longbowman back over to that side to get some shots up against them. Kira Siphon doesn't actually have that much health, so archers slowly but surely are going to be able to whittle that one down as well, so that's something that definitely needs to be respected. Houses have been taken down, so loueMT currently being housed needs to build the houses back up in the back of the space.
Not only that, it breaks Golden Age Tier 1. Might not seem like much, but that definitely has an effect when Castle Age starts. But there's plenty of gold in the bank, plenty of gold gathering, and Louis ready to grab up 2 relics as well. Another house, though, goes down. Villagers pulled this time.
Ooh,
Longbows are here ready and waiting, at least causing a little bit of idle time on by Wham.
At the moment, Louis hasn't clicked the veterancy yet on the archers. There it is. Veterancy now being researched for him. Once it comes in, the archers are going to start trading a lot better up against the Lombard and up against the loueMT.
He's going to go for the production. If he's able to stop the stables from producing those camel lancers, he will be in a much better position, even if Louis is getting gold. If you don't have the production to get units on out, but looks like Wham instead is just taking the small win that he did early and says, all right, let me just head back home, try to get up to Castle Age himself.
Castle Age follow-up is going to be on the menu here. One Desert Raider tries to go for a villager kill, is barely not going to find it. The Lumbermen are going to be there to defend the villagers.
I feel like Wham knows that there's gold being gathered from somewhere. He's trying to find out where from. He's obviously scouted the map already. He sees, where the gold locations are. So might just split off a few units of that eastern side gold vein. But for now, has to deal with Camel Lancers, and a good bit of damage goes down on the first one.
Camel Lancer, though, can eventually get healed back up, as we do have the Desert Raider, well, not Desert Raider, but the Dervishes there with the relics. Just making their way on back to the base. Even we're able to capture one of the sacred sites here behind all of this. So a little bit of additional gold trickle that came in there for loueMT. And now Golden Horn Tower is going to be coming in for Wam. So will, similarly to how Ayyubids get a lot more villagers in, Golden Horn Tower provides like a lot of value in the form of free mercenary units for the Byzantines.
Yeah, as well as having water level up at 5 provides a ton of value as far as boosting up his economy and boosting up his production.
loueMT behind this, just scaling up the archer count, but Wam already at 20 longbowmen now. He's gonna lose a couple here though, or at least one.
Yeah, 20 long, or 19 now, still feels like a great spot. Should immediately get that mercenary upgrade in queue. And indeed he does, as well as the veteran Limitanam. Wow, words.
More relics getting picked up behind all of this by Louis. Those Desert Rays just so quick at picking them up. A lot of movement speed even while carrying those heavy relics back to the home base. Inside, it's going to be a lot of additional passive income here for Louis, as he's already 7 villagers ahead, courtesy of that economical growth.
Yeah, and then there's the 4th relic now snagged. There's no scout near this dervish, at least for now. So Wam going to try to be able to pick this off, but needs to find out where that dervish is going, and there is plenty of stealth force to try to hide. And the rest of the Wam walls are going to try to be finished where he has his full side of his economy nice, safe, and secure behind that.
This Raider is going to find the longbows, or rather the Camel Lancer.
Looks like 3 volleys is able to take out those Camel Lancers right now. That is,
longbows.
Oh my, so much damage.
Louis, he doesn't have any blacksmith upgrades. Meanwhile, Wam already on pierce damage level 2. Pierce armor level 1 in as well. Blacksmith is there for Louis now though, so we'll be getting those upgrades in shortly. Still only on Golden Age level 1, but soon on Golden Age level 2. That is also going to increase the speed at which these upgrades will be coming in.
Yeah, it does have an outpost, at least on that gold that he moved out to very early on. A few olive groves starting to be dropped for Wam. He knows that, you know, if he runs out of those food resources on the map, he still needs food production, still needs to be able to make units. Speaking of, Louis just goes out to the deer without any protection as well, so there's definitely some vulnerable spots. And how will Wam try to punish that? We see Cataphracts in queue.
Cataphract's definitely one of the stronger cavalry units in the game. Louis actually able to gather up the 5th relic now as well, so 400 passive gold per minute. Behind this, Wam though is going to be taking control over the sacred site, so we'll be able to at least get up to 200 gold per minute on his side respectively. Won't be getting any additional olive oil though from any relics inside of the Grand Winery.
Currently controls both of those points in the middle, so has a little bit of extra vision. But Louis been so good with his scouts this whole time, always having vision, always having the knowledge and information where these units are. Longbows continuing to try to snipe. Camel Lancers circling back around. There's not as many Limitanei here as before, but just enough to deter those away.
Combo number is not something that you want to lose out on if you're playing as the Byzantines here. Limitani trying their best to get onto the Camel Lancers here, aren't going to be able to find them. Still, Wam at the moment does have the blacksmith upgrade advantage, so will be able to survive with most of his units here. Not the best trade for him. Louis did a great job of trading out the units there, but behind this, Cataphracts actually managed to find a couple of villagers here from the looks of it.
Yeah, it looks like Louis had to pull back off of the berries, had to pull back off of the deer, moving over to the eastern side where his army has been posturing. His army is a little bit safer. The Cataphracts, though, they're diving the wood line, and there's so many villagers here. The army is not too far away, but will any damage actually come through? Not enough. Louis' army, close enough, pushes those Cataphracts away.
Here's damage level 2 now also in for loueMT, so without the painted shield upgrade, these Cataphracts will take significant damage from these archers from loueMT.
Camel Lancers do a great job too of, once they start their charge, getting that little extra damage on in if they can connect.
Behind this, just massing up more and more archers. No real other units so far that he's trying to transition into. No more Camel Lancers in queue as well at the moment. Does see the army now approaching from Wam. Archers will be in position to deal with that.
And look at how many villagers Wam just idled out by that push. So many villagers were over on that deer. Louis is struggling on the food income, so that might be Wam's opportunity in this game. Obviously, behind an eco, he's down a few villagers, but more importantly, down 5 relics. Picks up another villager. Where? On the food. It is his focus.
Cataphract just such a heavy hitting unit there, able to two-shot those villagers, so if you don't see it immediately, you are most likely to lose at least a single one of them. Your Siphon has been rebuilt or moved around. Not sure if that one has been alive from the feud late on.
Sultan's Mamelukes just finishes for loueMT, but Wam is trying to keep up this pressure, trying to make sure that this Ayyubid economy doesn't stay fully online. More outposts drop, more villagers moving out to Deer, and Wam wants to punish.
Yeah, Wam, he's going for Varangian Guards now behind this, so he's going to be adding his own Men-at-Arms. Now, the Varangian Guard has a little bit less health overall compared to the normal Men-at-Arm. A little bit more melee armor. Melee armor not really necessary up against the archers, but still a very high value unit here. And once again, food is getting idled out for loueMT. He still has a good amount in the bank, but will need to actually spend it on units here rather soon.
Seems like he is on the back foot, only been producing archers, and the Varangian Guard's going to trade very efficiently into that with their tankiness. Can continue to utilize that raiding units. Cataphract split off with the picture-in-picture, so damage going in onto the economy. Longbow's going to be trading out with these archers, but that archer mass has built up so heavily.
Couple of Varangian at the front side, though, are going to be tanking up a lot of the damage here. Cataphract's now also moving over, finding more villagers on the stone.
So much damage here. Wam is playing this game so efficiently, playing it to perfection.
And Louis is now behind in the villager economy. Wam pulling ahead, 64 to 43 military at this point in time. Louis, he's gotten every single relic. He's got the economical growth. Yet Wam is way ahead in the economy department. Total resource per minute just not looking good enough here for Louis. Can never forget that on top of all of the resource per minute, Wam is also getting free mercenaries with the olive oil.
Yeah, and great kiting here from these longbows, allowing some of those tankier units to be the front line. Speaking of, look at the reinforcements. You're like, okay, this kind of looks good for Wam. Well, now it looks that much better.
All the archers now getting vastly discounted by 14 Varangian Guards, and now Wam, he's pushing past the TC. No villagers inside of it, so no additional damage going to be coming in. Louis pulling villagers inside the TC to try and help out with the damage here. Archers trying to ignore the Varangian Guards, just trying to do damage to the longbows, but it just isn't enough here at this point. It gets pulled back further and further and further. Meanwhile, Cataphract still on the backside, doing damage there in the economy on Louis as he falls further and further behind, and Lumberman just pushing in deeper and deeper behind it all.
An attempted farm transition right now for Louis. He's down to 300 food per minute, and his army is just cratering. It's going straight down the drain. Wam is doubling the economic numbers, or military numbers, and the economy is soon to follow that.
Dervish also just getting sniped out immediately, so no more healing will be there. Camelans are also getting taken down by the longbowmen. And now, bit by bit, the archers from Louis are going to fall or trade out to those longbowmen. Wam still doesn't want to completely miss out on his longbow mass, so he's going to try and kite back just a little bit behind here.
Look at the picture-in-picture, though. He had one Cataphract split off. One Cataphract went over to the berry, so still able to continue to get damage. Reinforcements starting to arrive again, and loueMT is almost at single-digit military at the 20-minute mark in this game.
Camelans just don't cut it. It's so dangerous whenever you see those volleys coming out from the longbowmen, just how much damage they do to those Camelances. And now a second troop of units is going straight for the farming economy here from Louis. Camelans is trying to charge back, archers there as well to support. Cataphract yet again just splitting off, and now we're seeing even more siege. This push is so deadly from Wam, and Louis, he's trying his best to hold on, but it is so difficult for him here.
I mean, Wam has more food income than Louis has total income right now. He has absolutely dominated this game as far as the later game Byzantine push goes. Finds another huge grouping of villagers. They pull out the shivs, try to do enough damage to the Cataphract, but a little bit deceiving with how much health they still had left.
It is absolutely incredible, though, how Louis has been able to keep his economy mostly efficient throughout all of this, right? Like, villager idle time so far hasn't been that much, but looking at the total income, Wham, close to 10,000 more resources collected. Louis is destroyed more, but Wham, just with so much more gathered, it doesn't really add up here for Louis in this situation, as he isn't going to be able to continuously hold on against this many engagements, this many reinforcements coming in from Wham time and time again, and GG comes in. Wham able to regain his lead in this series, now leading 2-1 up against loueMT.
I mean, it felt like he was everywhere, all over the map, did not allow Louis a second to breathe.
Not at all, just non-stop aggression once that Castle Age did come in. Even before that, just a little bit of aggression here and there, that one early Cura Siphon just keeping Louis back in his base. Even the 5 relics, they came, it just was not enough against the Byzantines here, so now Louis is going to be able to choose the next map. We do have Golden Heights and Cliffside available to him. Cliffside, we mentioned it earlier, could be a good map for Ruse. Golden Heights, Mongols, definitely a great civilization from there. Wham, though, also with great options, respectively.
Yeah, it feels like Wham might have a few more options, you know, maybe can try to get a counter pick going, as just like you said, those are the picks that make perfect sense for Louis. There might be a few more options for Wham, though, and I mean, look at the military value lead. Look at just the overall resources gathered. It doesn't feel like that. You know, when Louis was Castle Age right off the bat, 7 extra villagers, 5 relics in play, but it did not matter.
Military value lead for a while was there for Louis, but in the end, just multiple reinforcements time and time again. The continuous grind with those mercenaries, with those olive oil units, just all adding up together, leading to Wham able to overpower loueMT in the end. It was actually a really nice Castle Age transition there. I really liked the game plan idea from Louis at the beginning. Getting 2 production buildings up, it looked a little bit like he was going to be going for the aggressive play with the dervishes, fading for that, but then switching up for a fast Castle Age play behind us and getting every single relic. The setup looked great. Wham, with the Byzantines just looking so strong. And there it is. We are going to be getting that Golden Heights Delhi versus Mongols game here. Delhi, with their, you know, archer fishing ships, are going to be great when it comes to taking control over that pawn in the corner. Mongols in general, though, they're very good at these asymmetric games.
Yeah, I mean, it is one where we saw Wham the last time he played Delhi on this map. He tried to go out to that pond, tried to go out and get fishing, and he was able to get a dock up, but it was at what cost? Lost 2 villagers, lost that early eco bonus that, you know, the fishing even could have had, and it did not pay off quick enough to hold a Castle Age push. Mongols, they're pretty good at some early aggression as well, some early spearmen. That's what they're known for.
It's actually early spearmen. Up against English, even sometimes we do see the early horsemen coming in. Probably not here. Yeah, I mean, Wham with the Delhi. Delhi, they're kind of like not the greatest when it comes to like these Dark Age engagements, right? Like rarely do they really want to go for like the Dark Age barracks. But I will say there's been some interesting changes in general when it comes to water for Delhi, where now the first dock that you build automatically spawns with a scholar inside. It used to be that you need to get that monastery in first in order to be getting, or rather mosque in, to be getting that first scholar there. So in theory, if you go forward and you drop a dock and a barracks, you immediately have a scholar nearby to be able to heal up your spearmen.
Yeah, and you used to also be able to dodge those fishing ship arrows. No longer. Those things are auto-focusing in. There is no dodging on those fishing ship arrows anymore.
Mm-hmm. Well, shout out here before we move into our next game, that we do have that bounty there, I want to say, at the top. If you do see, like, we do still need a couple more grand to be making this tournament into an S-tier tournament. So if you want to chip in, help support the players, you can do so at the Matcherino link in the chat. And, you know, every little bit counts. It does go towards the player and could potentially help us make this land an S-tier tournament. But now it's time. Our players are locking in, and we're about to be jumping into our game number 4 as we're moving over to Golden Heights.
And we do see that Uvu has already been built. So let's see what production building is to follow. Most likely a barracks, but you never know with these players. Like you said, it could be an early horseman play to try to get out and about on the map faster. Wham's villager, though, has arrived. Not too much damage down yet. The Khan trying to do as much as he possibly can.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a scholar as soon as that dock gets finished up. So any damage on the villager will eventually get healed back up. Louis, though, Look at that. He's already gathered enough gold for the age up. Looks more like he's going to be just trying to go for a fast feudal age play here.
Yeah, potentially so. And there is one thing I always laugh about. I remember a couple spawns of Golden Heights where your villager's running out to the water and there's 3 or 4 wolves he runs through, and all of a sudden he's half health by the time he gets there. But fortunately, there was only one wolf and easily able to be dealt with by Wam Scout.
So now Louis is going to be going for a fast age up. Oh my god, every now and then we can see the villagers, they're getting a little bit disoriented there by the Gur. Gonna have to be so careful there with the macro as they are trying to sometimes path all the way around the gold vein. Louis, though, does realize he's gonna reposition that Gur in order to get the most effective pathing in there.
And honestly, it's a risk reposition.
Oh my god,
Wham walls.
Yeah, it's the early Wham walls here. Wham, he's whamming.
And, I mean, that is one where that early Gur, it's honestly a risk picking that up at times, especially when villagers are all there and near. Sometimes you can't get it replaced efficiently, especially with carcasses near, but Louis was able to do so. Khan, moving out, sees the villager moving out to gold.
He's going to see the wall as well.
Yeah, there's the wall. Already finished that initial segment. Next segments should be honestly pretty close to finishing as well.
He should be making his way through. Wham might honestly just snipe a couple of the sheep there potentially. Oh, that one already closed up as well.
I mean, this makes it so hard for Louis to get directly across. That was always that annoyance, you know, when maybe learned from his game against his brother where the men-at-arms just non-stop ran right through that location, ran into his base. Love this from the fishing boat, too, making sure that there's not any sneaky dock play coming in early.
I think when it comes to the next play from Louis, I do believe that he might be just trying to go for some Keshiks there. Double produce Keshiks. Could help him a lot because he's going to be able to out-heal the damage that comes in from the fishing ships if the fishing ship's getting pulled in order to defend the dock there.
Yeah, so that is one where Deerstones, where he's only got 2 villagers on it, so even though he went for this quote-unquote fast feudal, it's not that fast of a feudal when you're only having 2 villagers.
Yeah, not coming in that quickly. And instead, it's actually going to be a barracks instead of the stable here. Wham is going to be able to spot that out immediately, has a scout nearby.
Yeah, knowledgeable of this, Louis might actually just go ahead and start making some spearmen here right when it finishes in the Dark Age. Still, we'll be able to get that upgrade later on. Use the scouting arrow, sees plenty of villagers on the wood line, but Dome of the Faith starting to be built.
Demo coming in, 7 villagers, 5 villagers working on that. Able to pull just a couple more here, as he does have that economy working on water for him as well. Hasn't invested too much into it yet, though.
Yeah, exactly. Hasn't gone too heavily into the fishing, but now that the feudal age is on the way, he's feeling a little bit more comfortable to do so. Looks like a villager from loueMT is moving forward, might try to get a little outpost action over this wood line. And that's exactly what he goes for right in front of that wooden wall that Wham had built. Outpost outline is already there. And look at the reaction from Wham. He already knows it.
Immediately. Yeah, when all the wood lines are forward, you do kind of get forced into reacting to something like that. But this is actually a lot of idle time here for Wham.
It is a lot of idle time for Wham, but Louis not yet reacting to this yet. I mean, looks like he wants to still try to finish this outpost, but he can't. There we go. Has to end up moving back. Cancels the outpost. Might go around for the other side, but at least this will allow Wham to continually gather wood for the time being.
Is he going to just try and get the outpost on the other side of the wood line?
I think so.
Just going to try and burn through.
I mean, this is one, though, that the Dome of the Faith is not too far away from finishing. Wham can just cancel a fishing boat, drop an archery range if he wants to, start pumping up those archer numbers, push those spears away, push that villager on away.
Something to keep in mind, though, Wham has not had a mosque yet, so there's no efficient production or anything like that already in for him. Means at the same time that, yeah, sure, he can get the archer range in, but it's going to take him a little bit longer than it typically would to get those archers out onto the field. And,
I mean, this short wall, though, he can just drop another one.
There it is.
there we go. This is such a problem when it comes to walls. Yeah, the Khan can, you know, do a little bit of poking on that villager, but Wam should still give himself more than enough. And he's double layering it as well.
Oh, man. Double layering it up there, thoroughly buying himself enough time to get some archers out to be able to deal with any torching units there on his walls. Louis behind this, already adding in his own archers as well behind this. No additional upgrades coming in though so far from Louis, so doesn't have any economy upgrades, no blacksmith upgrades coming in. It's not like he's going to try and ram this down eventually.
And a second archery range being dropped, just going to go with that full range mass for the time being. As he sees Louis' archer numbers, he scouts it on out and knows that he's going to need more.
Oh, the archer is out and about. Archer's also stepping forward though from loueMT. It's a little bit more difficult for Wam to try and deny the burn through. Yeah. So triple layering here, definitely paying off at the moment for him.
Yeah, and that the damage that was done to that archer can always get healed up by those scholars, but currently scholars inside the mosque. He does have 4 of them, but I'm not sure. Yeah, there it is. Starts to pull them on forward. Wants to just be able to out-heal that archer damage from the other side. Needs to pull back quick before one gets picked off. And great micro. Barely able to keep that archer alive.
Oh.
Trying to rush down that outpost as well. But, I mean, look at the scholar healing. This is so, so strong. Villager kited back. Oh!
Goes down.
Loses one villager.
A second one almost goes down.
Yeah, I mean, mass healing, though.
Actually
doing
getting
everything he can for the time being. And Louis has to move back. A couple units lost for him. A villager lost for Wam, but currently made up for by fishing.
Yeah, with textiles, still managed to kill that villager. And this does look like Louis is going to start trying to go into trade to at least have some way of keeping up with this economy at the moment from Wam, as Wam has been on water now for quite a while.
He said, all right, you rush down that outpost. Well, I'm just going to walk away and go to
Wam's
the other
looking for it.
wall.
Wam is looking for the trade.
I mean, this really feels like Wam has been in control, but Louis is going to be at the point now where he can start one-shotting those archers. So military numbers need to keep climbing. And
this is big. He sees the market. Does he notice it though? He does notice.
He does notice.
And now he can just put the scout on the market, and the market isn't going to be able to unpack.
A couple archers barely able to stay alive. Wam pulls them back to the backside, probably going to get another scholar on out. And just as you said, market is starting to be burnt on down, although the bigger importance is that it is not being able to be placed. Louis does not have an economic bonus of his own right now.
Trying to burn through that wall. Looks like he's going to be able to finally burn through. And this Wam has not quite been able to keep up with the archer mass. Is busy healing up his own archers though behind this. Here stones also moving forward or back again.
Not only is it deer stones, it is now the Keshik transition as well for Louis. So it has been archers, archers, and more archers. Wam, though, making some Ghazi raiders of his own.
Ghazi raiders, similarly to Sipahi, also a very strong unit, but on top of what Sipahi normally do, additional bonus damage, +2 damage with every single hit up against an armored unit like Keshik. Scout has been pulled away, courtesy of a spearman. Market has not yet been placed, but will be placed fairly soon.
Yeah, the big question is, when does Louis end up getting a blacksmith on in? When does Louis... Oh, he just has it going right now. So Louis getting blacksmith upgrades, Wam getting blacksmith upgrades, but Wam doubling down on the stables because he has extra food from the fishing to support it.
Butchers on the wood line have to be really careful.
Outpost never got finished.
Outpost hasn't been finished, and Can Falcon also just providing the extra line of sight here for Wam. Louis, he does see that he just cost a lot of idle time.
Yeah, looks like Wam might relocate there to the back wood lines. That's exactly what he is going to do. However, there's a hole in the wall. Louis can just walk right on through, can try to circle around and see if Wam has moved wood lines indeed. Look at the military numbers, though. With the extra food that he has in, with the extra production, the extra delay.
Just coming in so quickly. Louis not quite able to catch up with this. Does have enough stone for maybe some double-produced Keshiks now as well.
If efficient production is online as well, so really just able to pump those numbers up very, very quickly and match up the, the double producing, and I guess even outmatch the double production that they're from Mongols, as it is only a slow stone trickle.
Yeah, only a single trader at the moment for Louis, so not really able to keep up with the 10 fishing ships that Wam has out there at the moment. Now Wam also keeping up with the archer count. Gazi count eclipsing the cash account there as well.
And Louis is so scared to push on through because it's such a dangerous game, pushing back into these choke points when your opponent can actually start to close the gap, can actually get a flank, get damage on in.
How many scholars does Wam have? Up on 8 scholars at the moment. Not really going for any more. 8 scholars definitely enough for him to get every single upgrade in the feudal age.
He's even going ahead and getting the fishing upgrade in as well, so food income is going to be even more beneficial.
And it is a pretty big bonus for him there as well. These upgrades typically tend to be very expensive, so getting them in for free, definitely worthwhile grabbing them. Total resource per minute also just looking very strong here overall. Currently only on 2 traders for loueMT, so he's trying to invest every now and then, but it is difficult to keep up with this many fishing ships at this point in time.
And look at what Wam's doing too. There's a few Ghazi that split off. He's going to go try to deny that trade because he saw the market.
Yeah, just that little amount of trade is going to get denied now. 2 Ghazi raiders making their way around.
I see a red dot on the map near the gold vein, near the water. Not sure if it's a villager, not sure what.
Oh, it's a ram. Okay. Interesting play. It's only a single dock, so could be shutting down the water income there.
There is a villager, though, could try to, whether it's a quick wall, whether it's trying to, build another dock in the corner to at least keep up the fishing for the time being. But look at the pure numbers. Wam is at 43 archers right now. I feel like he doesn't even need the Ghazis, even though there's Keshik on the other side. There's just so many archers here.
It is, and now Louis, he's going for a ram there with the main army as well. But this many archers are actually got able to do significant damage to that one ram as well.
Does end up adding up, and look at the army value lead. It has just gone straight up for Wam. What a solid game plan. What a solid defense. That triple layer walls really just feels like the MVP of this game. He is pushing forward. Looks like he wants to take this fight, but not yet. Being so careful, doesn't want to overstep by any means. Both of these players don't want to step past these wood lines. These choke points can get dangerous, but Ghazi now starting to push forward. He's got 18 Ghazi Raiders. There's only 6 spears on the other side, and we just saw them by the market.
Such a large army now pushing forward. The 2 Ghazi Raider on the trade did get eliminated, but now loueMT, he's going to be struggling. 15 Keshiks, it's a pretty big count.
There's villagers here too!
They have to run back.
That's his precious food. That means the Keshik production is going to be a little bit halted. Keshik's trying to dive on in. Archers kiting back, kiting as much as they can, and the Ghazi not allowing the Keshiks to get onto his archer mass.
Killed.
Khan goes down. More Keshiks coming to the front line, but look at just pure numbers here from Wam.
Hiding back now, the archers just doing such a solid work. Archers from loueMT out of position. Keshik's a little bit on a solo mission here. Ghazi now supporting as well. Keshik slowly but surely getting taken down. Not as premium of a unit as a normal feudal age knight would be. At this point, 80 to 40 military, granted 13 or around 9 of that is in the form of scholars, but still so many more archers out the map here from Wam, and he keeps pushing forward. Villagers finish up the outposts, are going to be jumping back inside, but the Keshik count now just down to 5. Ghazi Raiders still 12 out there on the map, and Wam, he is just continuously pushing forward and forward and forward. Sacred Sites getting taken up behind us as well, and slowly but surely Louis is losing his entire military mass here at the front line, and the only thing that remains is the army from Wam.
Losing the entire military mass, potentially losing this game, potentially losing this series. The ram is onto the dock. There's a few more villagers that got pulled out that way. Might be able to deny it.
And Wam comes in.
He takes it, takes the series, and is able to advance to the losers bracket finals.
GG. Wam able to beat out loueMT 3-1 here. Meaning that next up, he's going to be facing off against the against the loser of the Marine Lord versus Puppy Paw set. That one is going to be taking place tomorrow. Yeah.
First, though, we're going to have to wait for Wham to get on up here, wait to get the interview on in. I bet he is excited. I bet he is relieved. And what an exceptional series, an exceptional, whether it was the draft, whether it was the execution, whether it was just everything here with the strategy that he had in place.
Exactly, and this means that Wham is also getting one set closer to be able to defend his title as the king of the Rockies. So definitely a way back into this one, as he did get put into the lower bracket here. I believe we're about to be able to hear it from the man himself in just a moment. All right. There we go. Congratulations, Wham. Able to beat out loueMT 3-1 in that one. How are you feeling after that one? Probably relieved, I'm guessing.
Oh, I'm feeling good. Yeah, I'm really happy with the series.
Talk to me a little bit about how you were intending to play this one, because you did see the English coming in from loueMT. I'm guessing at this point you probably knew exactly what he was trying to go for with that.
Yeah, no, exactly. So I do have to say I accidentally picked Byzantines on for Frisian Marshes, but I didn't know he was going to go English, right? But loueMT allowed me to go KT, which was really, really nice of him, so I want to thank him for that. But yeah, I did have a KT strat up against English there, and you guys saw it.
The mass siege play, right? That was absolutely amazing. The gold denial there throughout it all, mass heavy spearmen being able to just deny these upgrades for such a long time. We had some sneak out there from loueMT, but these dogs, man, that you have out there on the ponds, also providing so much vision, able to give you that information that the sneak out did happen. Were you thinking of a sneak out happening? Do you think you would have looked for it if it wasn't for that dog giving you that vision?
Sorry, a sneak out on...
Yeah, on the gold. Louis snuck out some villagers there on the gold.
Oh, yes, I didn't see that without the dog.
Yeah.
Yes. I was very happy to see that.
Yeah, I could definitely imagine that one. Getting the information there was definitely most important one. The second game, Mali versus China. That was a rough one, right? You had both gold spawning forward. How were you feeling? You went up to a very fast H-up. Were you thinking that China was just trying to go for its own H-up behind that, or were you expecting the all-in feudal H play?
I wasn't expecting either or. I know that China can do both, but I was prepared for both, right? Both of the golds were in front. I think maybe if one of them was at the back, I would have had better chances. But I mean, he played really well. China's really good. I thought I played pretty good, but in the end,
it is a pretty good civilization. Byzantine versus Ayyubid on Pigeon's View. He got every single relic there as well. That was kind of just brutal to see that Byzantine still just outmassing Ayyubids there in the end. What's your current opinion on Byzantines? Do you think that they're too good? I mean, obviously we saw Japan beating them time and time again at the moment in this tournament so far. But what's your overall opinion on them so far?
I think Byzantine is really good up against civs that don't have the ability to mess with your Grand Winery and stuff like that. And you saw it here. As you mentioned, I got 0 relics. He got 5 relics.
Yeah.
The Golden Horn Tower pumped out so many longbows, and the winery with the farms. I don't need relics. I just make longbows out of thin air. And even when I saw that he got 5 relics, I'm like, this is okay for me. I'm happy with Byzantine. I think they're so strong as long as, you don't have to go Hippodrome or... I mean, Hippodrome's okay, but it's a lot easier to play this kind of style.
Yeah, exactly. And then for the last game, Delhi up against Mongols on Golden Heights. We've seen you play that before up against Puppy Paw. Delhi definitely looking really good there. I was surprised a little bit by the Mongol all-in there from Louis. Talk to me a little bit, how were you feeling? We saw the triple layering of the walls there coming in as well. Were you a little bit panicky when he did go for such heavy aggression?
Honestly, no. So you really have 2 options here. It's trade as Mongols or it's all-in. He went with all-in. And I saw my spawn and this is just an insane spawn. You see the wood line, you see the walls, and it's just yes, he can trade in the situation, but he already committed to that all-in, and I was extremely happy when I saw that because I'm this is just basic like defending, like my pawns. Like as long as I secure that, I'm ahead in eco, right? And I'll outmass him at some point.
All right. So tomorrow you're gonna have to face off either against your brother or against Marine Lord. How are you feeling about that?
I mean, I'm feeling good. I obviously lost against Puppy Paw, but you know, I'm here to take my revenge, even though, you know, I mean, I want Puppy Paw to win, obviously, so I hope to see Puppy Paw in the finals, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Definitely an option there, right? Like getting Marine Lord down to the lower bracket and maybe getting a little bit of revenge in the lower bracket against him immediately as well. Could be a very, very nice story there to see as well. Once again, Wam, congratulations on your victory, and we're going to be seeing more of you there tomorrow.
Yep. Thank you so much.
Thank you as well. All right. With that, that means that we are going to be about to conclude our tournament here for today. It's been a pleasure, as always. Once again, shout out to our little bar there at the top. We're currently $1,160 into our funding in order to go from an A-tier tournament to an S-tier tournament. And yeah, definitely would be much appreciated, as all the additional money there is going to be going over to the players, that additional prize pool. Joining me here now is the wonderful Draxus, the organizer of this tournament.
I appreciate that you don't make me sound like a supervillain when Socrates introduces me, because he sits there and says I'm masterful and everything. I'm just like, yes, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die. Like, that's what I think of whenever he does that. So how are you enjoying the event, Crackety?
Oh my god, it's amazing. The venue is great, interacting with the players is great, interacting with the audience also especially great. So many people here that are actively like playing the game, coming over and just talking with the players and interacting. It's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I think that one of my favorite things about today is the Team USA players were not able to qualify, so they're instead winning team games together. They're all just 4 PCs in a row having fun with each other, yelling at each other about stuff.
Oh,
so you know, you have to get your wins where you can, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So I had a blast today. I mean, I know you did. I know everyone else did. But today has been just absolutely phenomenal. Big congratulations to Wam making it into the top 3. Congratulations to Louis making it into top 4. I know, you know, taking a loss is always a bittersweet thing, but it's always a bitter thing. But it is, you know, top 4 is still really good.
Yeah, it's always great, like just being able to qualify for LAN in the first place, and then if you're getting like a good result, like in the top 5, you can really only be happy about that.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, I think that from what I've talked, from talking with a lot of the players, everyone is happy with their results. Just even just by merit of the fact that they're here says a lot about their skill.
Exactly. Yeah.
So one thing I did want to mention. So at the beginning of the week, we had released a bunch of info about the finances of the event, how we're funding it, things like that. So thanks to the support of the community, largely through donations, ticket sales, merchandise sales, we are fully funded at this point. So any donations that we receive from here on out are going to go towards the prize pool, as Crackety had said, getting us to that S-tier status, something I genuinely never thought we'd even consider seeing as a Rising Empires event.
It is definitely like amazing to be able to get here from just humble beginnings for Rising Empires.
I don't know if there is, like, it doesn't sound humble when I say it, but I don't know if there is a more humble beginning than what Rising Empires has had. Like, when I joined the organization about 2 years ago, the idea of just running, you know, a several $1,000 event was insane to us. And then the fact that we have come this far, the fact that World's Edge is sponsoring us and supporting this event, the fact that the community has come out in droves and supported this event as well. I know I say this every time I'm on stream, guys, but thank you so much. I don't have the mastery of the English language to show you what this means to me and how grateful I am for everything that the community has done for us.
Yeah, very, very much appreciated. This couldn't have happened without you guys watching and supporting us here.
But yeah, so we are, if I remember correctly, we are starting off with Puppy Paw and Marine Lord, and then we will have the
losers final.
Yeah, the losers final. So whoever gets knocked out by Puppy Paw and Marine Lord will go up against Wam, and then we have a show match. Have we announced that show match yet?
We have not, no.
Okay, so the show match is the players that did not make it show match. This is where Team USA gets to shine. It is Mr. Munch and Phyllisberto, 2 players that were here last year as players. And, you know, they weren't able to make it for the big stage all of the time, but they were able to get at least something here. So,
is there a rule for Phyllisberto to be allowed a guaranteed Mongols pick?
that sounds very entertaining. So probably, I am easily bribable in this regard. So if Phyllisberto, like, you know, we'll see.
We'll see if the bog suddenly like jumps a little bit there at the top right.
Yeah, you know, like yeah.
Or top left, rather.
Depending on how much money we get, we may let Phyllisberto draft for Mr. Munch as well. Who knows? But yeah, and then after that show match, which is a best of 3, we will have the grand finals between
whoever
we get. Yeah. We don't know.
Either Wham, Puppy Paw, or Marine Lord.
Yes. And I can't wait to see what that is going to bring. I know last year's grand finals was very hype. We did have a very clutch Wololo that was like even with the small crowd we had last year, the building exploded with that one, and I think it's just going to be even more hype and just even more excitement.
Definitely looking forward to it.
So unless you have any closing thoughts to add, I think we are pretty much set to call it a day here. We will be back at 9 a.m. Mountain Time. What is that in UTC? I don't know that.
Like 5 p.m.
I think so.
Say. Yeah,
So we're going to probably 5 p.m. UTC. And thank you everyone for watching. Thank you everyone for supporting us. And just thank you.
Thank you so much.